Hey guys, before the video starts, I just want to say I've opened up a Patreon. It's got a $1 tier and a $5 tier. You can check it out, link in the description. Patreon.com/TopsandWrestling. It's going to offer exclusive content and bonus content, ad-free content, and all that jazz. So be sure to check it out, link in the description. What's going on, guys? It's Tom, or Tops and Wrestling here, and welcome back to another episode of the worst of TNA. This is episode 2, first time in a while that a series on my channel didn't get cancelled after episode 1, praise the goddamn Lord. I did a poll on the last episode and asked you guys what topic you wanted to see discussed next, and the winner was the TNA Gut Check Incident, so that's what I'm bringing you. I'm going to tell you the story of how Ric Flair went off the script and signed a wrestler to TNA that TNA didn't want. This is the story of Alex Silva and the TNA Gut Check Incident. Let's get right into it. Before we do get into that though, the majority of you guys watching these videos aren't actually subscribed, so do me a favor and subscribe with notifications on to know when the next videos are out. I'll be posting the poll at the end of this video for the next topic to be discussed, so be sure to vote for that. And yeah, let's get right into this video. So first of all, I think we should start off by explaining what TNA Gut Check is, so let me explain that. TNA Gut Check was pretty much their version of WWE Tough Enough, however, it was very different, and let me explain why. Pretty much, Gut Check had two versions, and both of them had different formats. The first Gut Check took place between April 2012 to November 2012, and this format saw an unsigned wrestler have a match with a currently signed TNA wrestler. The result of the match really didn't matter though, as after the match, 3 judges would decide whether or not that wrestler would get signed. So TNA were properly blending kayfabe with real life. And the second Gut Check took place between January 2013 and July 2013. This one was a little different to the first one. You know, in the first one we saw an unsigned wrestler wrestling a signed wrestler, but this one we saw 2 unsigned wrestlers having matches, and then the judges would decide who was better in the match, and then decide whether to sign that person. It was a bit overcomplicated, but you know, whatever, it's TNA, everything there is overcomplicated. The thing with Gut Check was that usually the decision would be made the week after their matches in an in-ring segment, so they'd have the match, and then the next week there'd be the big dramatic, oh, have they been signed? But it's pretty much just meant that TNA would already have made the decision whether or not to sign them in advance, and would just tell the judges what to say. The judges weren't actually deciding whether to sign them or not. Well, they were, but they weren't. You get what I mean? Because TNA were telling them what to say. But the thing is, even with TNA getting all this time to actually make their decision, the decisions they made were very questionable on who they signed. WWE Tough Enough often gets a bad rep, with many people saying that the winners never do anything, which while that is true, TNA Gut Check is even worse with that. Of the 2 TNA Gut Check series, people who were successful and chosen by the judges, quote unquote, to sign for TNA were Taylor Hendricks, Sam Shaw, Christian York, Wes Briscoe, Alex Silva, Jay Bradley, and Ivelisse. And let me tell you, not a single one of them won a single title in TNA. Like, at least Tough Enough produced John Morrison, for crying out loud. Even Maven won the hardcore title a couple times. TNA didn't have any title holders of their winners. Tough Enough also gets criticism for people who lose ending up becoming big stars in WWE. I mean, look no further than the likes of Miz, Ryback, Velveteen Dream, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Cameron. All these people didn't win Tough Enough, but fair to say, they went on to do pretty well for themselves in WWE. But even TNA Gut Check had that. Even TNA Gut Check had instances of their runners-up doing far better for themselves. In the first series, Joey Ryan was unsuccessful, but since then has gone viral with his crazy antics and is now signed by TNA and wrestling Ken Shamrock. And in Series 2, Jay Bradley was chosen over Brian Cage. Jay Bradley did absolutely nothing, whereas Brian Cage went on to be signed by Impact and just recently lost the world title. But anyways, I digress. Of all the names I mentioned who won, there was a man named Alex Silva who was successful in making it through and being signed. Alex Silva was the first ever Gut Check participant, and while he succeeded in being signed, it was completely for the wrong reason. Prior to Gut Check, Alex Silva was relatively unknown. He debuted in 2004, wrestling for various indie promotions, and through 2010 to 2011, he made a few appearances in Ring of Honor, pretty much being used as a jobber. He wrestled in OVW between 2010 and 2013. We actually found a fair bit of success where he was a 3-time OVW television champion and a 2-time OVW Southern Tag Team champion, along with future Gut Check winner Sam Shaw. He even made 2 appearances for WWE in 2011, being used as a local talent and being squashed by Brodus Clay in 2 episodes of WWE Superstars. So pretty much prior to Gut Check, Alex Silva wasn't too known, but that wasn't a problem as most Gut Check contestants weren't too known, and the whole point of Gut Check was for these guys to prove themselves to TNA. Well, sort of, but not really, because like I said before, it was pretty much already decided in advance by TNA whether or not they were going to sign him, and the decision by TNA was that they were not going to sign Alex Silva. Keep that in mind, they were not going to sign Alex Silva. Alex Silva faced Robbie E in a losing effort in the first ever Gut Check match on April 26, 2012, and on the next week on May 3rd, 2012, Alex Silva came out for his live in-ring segment where his fate would be decided. Key word there, live. I previously mentioned that there were 3 judges who chose whether or not the contestants got signed. And who are those judges, you ask? Well, for this first match, it was Bruce Pritchard, Al Snow, and Ric Flair. Notice the emphasis on Ric Flair. The script dictated that Ric Flair would say no, Al Snow would say yes, and Bruce Pritchard would be the final person to make his decision, ultimately saying no. The segment took place and everything that I just mentioned happened. Flair said no and Snow said yes, leaving the final decision to Pritchard. And as I said before, the script was that they were not going to sign him. The reason Snow said yes was purely to get some drama and tension around Pritchard's decision to make it, oh, is he going to say yes or not? He's got the deciding vote. They were not going to sign him. However, before Bruce Pritchard made his decision, Alex Silva was given the opportunity to cut a promo to try and convince Pritchard to say yes and pretty much just give like some inspirational speech. Obviously, Pritchard was going to say no regardless, but this was to add to the drama. But then the unthinkable happened. After Silva cut his promo, Ric Flair went off the script and changed his decision to a yes.
I just changed my vote, you're in.
Meaning that Alex Silva had 2 yeses from Al Snow and Ric Flair, meaning he was signed to TNA regardless of what Pritchard said. The script of giving him 2 no's and 1 yes and not signing him had been flipped on the fly to 3 yeses and being signed, all because of Ric Flair. And yes, he got 3 yeses. After Ric Flair changed his decision to yes, Bruce Pritchard was just like, whatever, I'll just say yes, because it doesn't matter what I say, he's already been signed. After this incident, Ric Flair was replaced as the Gut Check judge by Taz because, you know, he literally signed someone that TNA didn't want. And this presented TNA with some issues. The first of which is that the segment aired live. I put some emphasis on that word before, and that just meant he was signed no matter what, and they couldn't edit out or reshoot this botch. Also, another problem was that TNA had to go out of their way to acquire a USA work visa for Silva, as Silva had citizenship with Canada and Portugal. And obviously the third and final problem is TNA didn't want this guy. That's probably the biggest problem of them all. TNA had to sign this guy that they didn't want. Upon being signed, TNA assigned Silva back down to OVW, which was their developmental territory at the time. He was called up on the November 22nd, 2013 episode of Impact, where he lost to Sam Shaw. He wouldn't wrestle again until the January 12th, 2013 tapings of Extravaganza and Joker's World. He competed in 2 matches that night, losing them both, and on June 5th, 2013, his profile on the TNA roster page was removed, ending a very uneventful and accidental career in TNA. So that pretty much sums up the story. Alex Silva was accidentally signed to TNA on their first ever Gut Check episode. It was this new idea that TNA thought was really revolutionary, and it was botched on the very first time. While he did find success in their developmental territory, he only wrestled 3 times on TNA, losing all of them, and ultimately only stuck around for less than a year. So poor Alex Silva. But anyway guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy, smash that like button. I had a lot of fun researching for this episode because I heard this story in a CM Pulse video that he did with New Legacy Inc.'s Johnny. And I just thought it was so funny. I'm like, I have to research this. And obviously when I saw the TNA videos doing well, I'm like, I have to make a video on this then. And that's exactly what I've done. This is such a crazy story, and it's honestly only something that TNA would have done. Well, to be fair, WWE sound like the wrong Zach Gowen, didn't they? Back in the day, or something like that. But yeah, I'm rambling on the outro like I always am. I opened a Patreon, by the way. You can check that out at patreon.com/Top10Wrestling. I've got a $1 tier and a $5 tier. You can check the rewards and the perks on the website. Link is in the description. Patreon.com/Top10Wrestling. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe with post notifications on. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye and keep on rolling.